going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just get this out of the way because we have a very juicy video, and I want to just dive right on deep into it. But of course, if you guys are interested in more content just like this, don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 and 1 Eastern Time, and I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are interested, I'll link that channel down in the description of this video. But like I said, I have to dive right on deep into this because there's multiple things I want to discuss. First and foremost, the Death Machine. Now, I finally went ahead and unlocked this Scorestreak. Obviously, we've had it many times in the past, but it's a slight bit different when it comes to Black Ops 6. Now, usually in the past, it's not really that slow of a streak, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. Now, I'm not saying you can run and gun and use it like it's an SMG, but I will say, you could still maneuver, you can engage, and you don't feel too slowed down. But in Black Ops 6, it's kind of a different beast. Now, I'm not going to say it's awful, and I do want to apologize for the gameplay too. I'm telling you guys, I don't know why, but BO6, for me personally, again, this has nothing to do with the gameplay or anything, but it is indeed, for me, the worst optimized Call of Duty game that I've played in a long time. I literally can't record any streak without the game completely just crapping itself. And it's not just me. I'm watching other content creators as well, like Drifter, for example, getting stutters in his gameplay footage. It's literally nothing you could do. It's just, up to whenever, I guess, the PC team over at Treyarch decides to optimize things, which I don't know if they're ever going to do. They're probably waiting out for BO7. So until then, I just got to kind of deal with this. But, it's not bad. I actually have a lot of fun with the Death Machine, and I can see myself maining the Scorestreak in my lineup for a long time now. And also, it's a perfect way to go on ahead and getting nukes very quickly. For those who don't know, when you use Scorestreaks like this, whether it's the hand cannon, Death Machine, or the War Machine, these add up to your actual nuke streak, unlike other streaks like a Chopper Gunner or an AC-130 that just kind of give you kills, but it doesn't go towards the end goal nuke. So, obviously, with that in mind, this is huge, because for PC players, I'm going to be honest, although the hand cannon is, very good, I still think the hand cannon is definitely more of a console-focused score streak. Whenever I use it personally, it's kind of a coin flip if I'm going to be absolutely clapping people and nailing everyone, or if I'm just going to get destroyed. It really depends on how the day is and how I'm feeling, and same thing for pretty much any other PC player out there. If your accuracy isn't there, the hand cannon isn't going to be there for you either. But with the Death Machine being introduced, we have another thing that you could just spray and pray, and it absolutely deletes people. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this thing absolutely destroys. The second you get it whirling around and firing, anybody who comes across your crosshairs, no matter where they are either, I've tested this at close range, medium range, and long range, and I swear, once you have this thing ADS'd and you're ready to beam, it's over. Anybody who comes up to you is going to get absolutely shredded. But there lies the differences between this Death Machine compared to previous Death Machines. You can't really hipfire it too well, and even when you do hipfire it, again, it's still a very long wind-up time to when the bullets actually start leaving the Death Machine. And from my playtime with this, it's a lot more of a stationary streak, believe it or not. Of course, if you have a harp in the sky, maybe you can work around it and you can kind of slide on people and pre-fire and get it, wound up ahead of time. But 9 times out of 10, from my experience, from what I've noticed, this streak is perfect for playing something like Domination, Hardpoint, anywhere where you can kind of just post up in a defensive position, click in for ADS, get it whirling around so it's ready to shoot, and just spray down anybody that runs up in front of you. That is the best way of handling it. And when you use it in that fashion, it, like I said, destroys. It literally ends careers. But that's going to be, I think, the breaking point for a lot of people, in my personal opinion, whether they're going to like this streak or not, because I know a lot of people enjoy running and gunning with the Death Machine. You're not going to be able to play with this current, build of the Death Machine like that, but you can still enjoy it if you are willing to kind of hold yourself back a bit and kind of play a bit more passive. And that's fair because, again, this streak actually is only like 800 and something points to unlock, which is literally cheaper than the Hellstorm. So, yeah, for something that is this strong, I think there needs to be a little bit of a downside to it as well. If you're able to run and gun with this thing while it's only at 800 score, I think there would have been a bit of an issue, and everybody, and when I mean everybody, would be rocking it. But I still suggest you guys give it a shot because it is fun. And like I said, if you are playing in OBJ game mode, you're going to be able to tear through people. And on top of that, if you're trying to go for nukes, you can stack the death machine with something like the war machine or even the hand cannon and try to multiply your kills to get you closer to the nuke and obtain it faster. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the second portion of this video comes into play. I see a lot of people saying that the streaks are kind of trash in Black Ops 6. That they're not good, they're worthless, and honestly might be some of the worst streaks we've seen in a very long time. Now, personally, I will say, I wish they had some more creative streaks in the mix here. I would definitely appreciate that, and I'm hoping that with Black Ops 7, maybe they can, since we're going near futuristic, and they can kind of, branch out a bit more. That was one of my favorite things with Modern Warfare 3 2023, is that they brought back so many different streaks that we haven't seen in a long time. They brought back streaks from Modern Warfare 3, the OG. They brought back streaks from Black Ops 2, streaks we haven't seen in years and years and years. They reintroduced and they kept things fresh. Whereas in Black Ops 6, I agree, the streaks aren't really that groundbreaking, It's the same stuff that we see almost every single year. But are they bad? No, I beg to differ. Although they are pretty much the same streaks, these might be the best, most overpowered streaks we've seen in a long time. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and put this portion of the video together for you guys, to express why I think these streaks are just, coming off as so underwhelming to a lot of players. I think they're just too difficult to obtain. A lot of these streaks are going to take an absurd amount of kills, paired with a bunch of OBJ time as well. And for your typical casual player, again, I want to say this as well, I understand, not everybody is supposed to be able to get the top-end streaks. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is supposed to be able to obtain these things. You got to work a little bit to try to get the best of the best. And if you don't want to, you can go ahead and, maybe get care packages and stuff of that sort and, roll the dice to see if you will obtain any of these, overpowered streaks. But when it comes to actually obtaining them, they are very difficult, to the point where even for very skilled players who might even be partying up, with how the matchmaking is nowadays, every game is hyper competitive. I mean, you're pretty much a rank status where you should only be rocking a UAV, in a Hellstorm maybe, RCXD car. That's what you should be rocking because of the matchmaking bracket. But on the occurrence, yeah, you might be thrown a bone. But when you are thrown a bone, it is still absurdly difficult to obtain these things. Now, again, the death machine was put at a pretty decent spot, around 800 points, so this one is much more easier to obtain. And they have been, kind of shrinking down the scores for a lot of the score streaks across the board to make them all easier to obtain. But even after all this work has been done, I gotta say, I still think these streaks are extraordinarily hard to get. And that's coming from someone who, again, isn't that bad of a player. I'm pretty sweaty, I'm pretty competitive. But you have to be locked the fluke in, if you want to go ahead and get some of these outstanding streaks. And like I said, that is where I think people think, quote unquote, think the streaks are bad. Because as I said before, the AC-130, that thing destroys. I mean, are you kidding me? And it's so hard to get shot down, and after you get out of it, you drop a little bomb on a random player. I mean, it absolutely shreds. Same thing with the chopper gunner. You can absolutely go beast mode. I've seen people get 100+ kills multiple different times with these streaks. And if you wait until you die before using these streaks, you can actually take advantage of them and use them to build up score. So if you hop into an AC-130 and 10v10 after you die, if you can stack up enough bodies, you'll probably be able to get your harp again, which can, maybe get you up to another AC-130, and bam, you get a second AC-130. And that's how you recycle streaks in BO6. But again, the streaks are that overpowered that is definitely a possibility. Not even just in 10v10 and 6v6, this could be done as well. They are great. Even the chopper, the Overwatch helo, I know people are a little mixed with that, but it spots opponents. I love that about it. Again, the Overwatch helo has never been the most useful streak in Call of Duty ever. Let's be real. Yeah, it gets some kills sometimes, but overall, it's more of a basic type of chopper. But with the addition of being able to spot opponents, it adds to the chopper being a handy, score streak. People don't just use it now to get kills, they use it as partial intel as well. It's the best of both worlds. In my opinion, the streaks are great in Black Ops 6, but they're just too hard to obtain. And I think, once again, that is where people have their mixed opinions about the streaks being awful. They are good. It's just they're way too difficult to get. And when you do get them, it depends on the map that you're playing on. Because let's be honest, if you get an AC-130 and you're playing on Skyline and everybody's sticking indoors or playing underground, what are you going to do? I would think the streaks are garbage as well, And since a lot of these streaks are so hard to get, you don't really get to use them on all of the maps in the rotation so consistently, A lot of these people out here are probably lucky if they can even get a chopper, maybe, once or twice a month because they barely put any time into the game, If they're only putting in like 30 minutes to an hour after a long day of work, I mean, seriously, they might not even bother trying to run a streak so high because they just know the chances are not there for them to obtain it. And, the streaks have always been a massive, huge part of the casual Call of Duty experience. Obviously, in ranked, it's always dumbed down, and, obviously you're going to be versing people of your own skill level, so getting streaks like this isn't as frequent because, it's going to be pretty even. But in casual COD, streaks have always been something that people have strived to obtain. That was always one of the biggest factors. And it's sad because it seems like so few people rock any of the crazier streaks because they are indeed difficult. And it's gotten to a point where people really genuinely believe all these streaks are garbage, when in reality, they are really good. They shred. It's just the majority of people just can't get them. So that's my criticism here. First and foremost, I like the death machine. I think it's fun. But for the rest of the streaks, I think they need to continue to tone them back. Because the death machine is in a good spot right now. 800 points to, earn this thing. When I first saw that, I was blown away. The death machine is insane. So 800 points is just, that's wild. But that should be the feeling for the rest of these streaks as well. Because again, streaks are a very important factor of any Call of Duty game. And if someone instantly looks at something and says, oh, it's a score of this, that's horrifying, I'm not even going to bother. That is when you're messing up just a slight bit. I wish people could experience these streaks a bit more. Maybe they could even implement just a limited time game mode into the game where the streaks are cheaper to get and people can, have a higher chance of obtaining them. That would be awesome. Or even, let's bring back Drop Zone for a lot of the casual audience so they can obviously, get a bunch of care packages for playing OBJ, and sometimes they can get the craziest streaks and then they can pop off and have a good time with it. I just want people to have a way to experience the streaks more in this game because they aren't that bad. It's just they are probably some of the hardest to get alongside the skill-based matchmaking being so thick and every match being like ranked. It just makes it a nightmare for a lot of the casuals out there. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And of course, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, gonna link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.